Hey Carl, I am so tired. I guess the first thing to say is a huge apology to listeners. This is a massively delayed show. In my defence, I have moved house. I have been searching desperately for a job, and I've also had a really bad chest. But what I will say is this morning I'm out of the dog. The birds are going crazy, so that's really nice. And quick update, the boys have, on the surface, been okay with moving. I say on the surface, I think you scratch a bit lower, there are some reactions to it. PDA and my youngest is a massive thing at the moment. My oldest slightly unregulated at the moment, and being a teenager as well, he does not want to talk about anything. We'll cover some of that in the next few episodes, I hope. When I say next few episodes, I mean I'm going to try again to get things out quicker. But what have you been up to, and tell me about how things have been going since we last recorded.
It's not totally all your fault, the delay on this app, right? It's been quite busy over here. You know, in April, I think you managed 5 days in school, and then in May, only managed 7 days. Been loads of school refusals. And I mean, there's been a lot of times where we've actually managed to get into school, but then as soon as we've pulled at the bottom of the drive, his anxiety's been that high that it's been unsafe to try and get him in. And then we've had all the illnesses as well. So we are waiting an appointment for a day patient so we can get some blood tests done to try and get to the bottom of all these health issues we're having at the minute. I think our listeners will understand. Life as an adopted parent is very busy, and you know, our guest is a massive fan of the podcast. I'm sure she will understand the reasons for the delays.
Yeah, I'd totally forgotten the chaos involved in moving house and the stress and everything. I know people say it's one of the most stressful things, if not the most stressful thing you'll ever do. Kids have been okay though. I was really worried about them. Maybe it's just hasn't sunk in yet.
My son's reaction to us moving, there were a couple. One of them was he climbed out of the lounge window and cut the for sale sign off the balcony railings, and it landed on the car bonnet. Slightly dented and scratched it. Obviously, he didn't want to move. And then the other one was he got my wife's phone and sent the estate agents an email to say that we wanted to take the house off the market. And it must have been a very accurate, that's not quite the right word, believable email, because we had a phone call off the estate agents later that day to discuss taking our house off the market. These kids are quite good with technology, unfortunately. It's another school refusal today. I've got to ring school and tell them he won't be coming in. He shan't be going on his computer. I've got some jobs to do around the house, so I'll get him involved in helping me with jobs. And one of them jobs is writing a shopping list, because he's really good. It has to be in a certain order though. So it has to be an aisle order and food item orders and household orders, and he draws a box around each section, and then he comes with me and helps me, which is normally okay because we pick the times when it's quiet. So we went in and he's got the shopping trolley and he's doing 360s with the shopping trolley, and then we got to an aisle with it where the household things are, and he said, do we need toilet rolls? And I was like, no, we've got loads of toilet rolls. And he said, okay. He said, I'll just stay here while you go and get the rest of the household stuff. I was like, yeah, fine. I'm on the same aisle, so I know he's not going to disappear. He disappeared. So I headed back to where I'd left him, and he was in the section where the toilet rolls were. I realised that he'd made a toilet roll fort, and I looked through the window that he'd made, and yeah, he was inside the toilet roll fort. And so I stood there for 20 minutes talking to him through the window and getting 1 or 2 looks from other customers because they could see a bloke standing there with a shopping trolley talking to the toilet rolls. Yeah. After about 15 minutes, I could see this bloke walking down the aisle, and I'm thinking, that looks weird. And so I said to my son, like, Pam, come on, I'm getting weird looks now. You've been in there 15 minutes. We need to finish doing shopping. This should have been a 10-minute shopping trip. It's, we're now into half an hour. I said, Mum will be wondering where we are, and I need to go home and cook tea. I said, so you need to come out. And I looked at the bloke, and the bloke just shook his head and smiled. It took a further 10 minutes for me to get him out, and we stacked the toilet rolls back on the pallets. So, Jesus, yes. It's always an eventful shopping trip when I go with my son.
Warning, kids! Homer's about to tell a dad joke.
Now, as you've been talking, I've walked a bit further and, oh my gosh, it's soaking wet. And I've never been a big fan of gators. Crocodiles as well, don't like them either, but gators. I'm not talking alligators, I mean those kind of waterproof things like leg warmers.
Oh, brother.
And I saw someone I know wearing them the other day, and I thought, oh, crikey, it's a bit extreme. And now, in the morning, in the rain and wet, geez, yeah, I could really do with a pair. I'm not sure I'm going to get some though. Now, it's interesting that, because as we know, very, very clearly, kids with things like autism, ASD, ADHD, etc., they are super creative, and I don't think there's any as creative as your son. And not only that, it's the speed in which he reacts to things that make him creative. So that's brilliant. I mean, yeah, frustrating for some, but others just like, yeah, that's really cool. But also, you've been talking to me in the past about how you try and harness some of that, and how you want to pick up on how great he is at singing and how much he loves it. And so today, there's a reason why I've called this episode The Coping Mechanism. So let's hear from someone called Heather. And perhaps after we've heard her talk about what she does, you can tell us a little bit about why she's so important.
My name's Heather, and I am not an adopter. I am, however, a SEN mum, a SEN-specific tutor, and a SEN parent advocate. Myself and my husband set up a community interest company approximately 3.5 years ago now, called Coping Together. Myself and my husband are Mr. and Mrs. Cope. It's clever, isn't it? And we provide one-to-one sessions for children and young people with special educational needs and disabilities. We also provide EOTAS tutoring for home educated children. So we have 33 families with us at the moment, and 10 of those families are adopters. So as you can imagine, we see all kinds of presentations that pop up amongst all their children, and all of the issues that the parents face every single day in battling for support for their children that they chose. I'm also Adopters Anonymous #1 fan.
This is Adopters Anonymous. Anything you say here is in the strictest confidence.
Who are these people?
Man, these people are heroes.
It's survival of the fittest for Carl and Martin.
If you listen to their stories, it's like they're living a real-life Hunger Games.
So, yeah. Martin, Heather, Martin.
And I'm sorry I can't be there in person today. And I'm excited to hear what you can tell us about what you do, because Carl really talks highly about what you do. And yeah, I want to know how you, amongst other things, how you stay calm and how stressed you get and how you deal with those situations that lead to Carl having no hair and me being really grey.
How do I not get stressed, and how do I... Basically, because they're not my children. Okay, I do have an abundance of patience. That's true. I'm also a Sen mum, as I'm sure Carl has told you. I am a biological Sen mum. So I have 4 children. Eldest is nearly 20 now. Next one down, 16. And they're both my boys. And then I have an 11-year-old girl and a 4-year-old girl. Both of my boys are undiagnosed, but are undoubtedly autistic. They fit into the box of, I hate this term, but for the purpose of this, high-functioning autism. So they don't need EHCPs, never needed any extra support in school. It's more the social and anxiety side for them that's more prevalent. But my 11-year-old daughter is diagnosed. She was diagnosed by the time she was 3. She is nonverbal. She has a severe learning disability. She's doubly incontinent. She likes to practice self-injury quite frequently. And I use the word like very carefully because she does get quite a lot of joy and sensory feedback from that. So yeah, that's a little bit about my introduction to the SEND world. Before we set up Coping Together, our little community interest company, I did work full-time now, let's be honest. But I was in a mainstream school as a SEND practitioner for almost 10 years.
Right.
That's what I did prior to that. And then in mainstream schools, a 1-to-1 isn't really a 1-to-1. It's more like a 1-to-10. So it is. That's the reality of it.
Yeah.
You have a child with an EHCP that you're supporting, and then the class teacher goes, well, we've got all of these undiagnosed children with no EHCPs. Can you help these ones too? And that became unmanageable. So I went on maternity leave with my youngest, who's now 4, and didn't go back. Made the decision not to go back. And Coping Together was born as a result of that.
Which leads, I think, really, when I said it should have done at the start, really, Carl and Heather, talk about what Heather does, if you can, Carl. And I'd get Heather to explain what she does would be good, I think.
So you know as well as I do that our kids will go to an activity. We'll go out and buy all the kit. They do it for a couple of months and then they say, I don't want to do it anymore. And we try to get a music teacher.
Music's his life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
We tried to get a music teacher for my son. And like I say, music is just...
It's what makes his world go round.
Yeah, definitely.
Me too.
And the one teacher said she couldn't keep him safe. And so I don't know how my wife found Heather, and she said, yeah, let's give it a go. And is it coming up to 2 years now?
It's over 2 years.
Is it over 2? Is it nearly 3?
Yeah.
My son doing an activity for that long. There've been a few breaks in there, but for him to still be doing it is unbelievable. So I'll ask a question here. So, like I say, we tried another music teacher and they said they couldn't keep him safe. But you said yes.
I did.
Now, do you have any regrets saying yes? Hang on, I haven't finished. Have you learned any more skills from it? And did you have a rather large glass of wine after one certain lesson?
So I have a rather large glass of wine after quite a few of my lessons, actually. And it's not just exclusive to your young person. So I said yes because our business was inspired by my own daughter, who struggles to access any kind of extracurricular activity. She is in school full time, and I'm very grateful for that. And her school, marvelous with her. She's on 99.6% attendance, I think, which, yeah, it's incredible. I know. But she's nonverbal, so she can't argue with me either. So there's that. So I said yes because the whole idea and the whole ethos behind Coping Together was to create a service that everybody can access, and for us to be able to adapt ourselves and adapt the space that we teach in to make it accessible. So we're not one of these small organisations that tick the inclusion box just for ticking a box purpose. We are inclusive, and we will go to the ends of the earth to make sure. Plus, I'm really stubborn and won't be defeated, which also helps. And your young person has taught me so much because he is so complex. There's no denying that. He is a complex young person. He does have multiple diagnoses. What he wants and what he needs are very often in conflict. So he's at war with himself a lot, isn't he?
He definitely is, yeah.
So it's about being able to pick up on that presentation the second he walks in the door. 99% of the time it works.
Yeah.
1% of the time he ends up a tree.
Please elaborate.
Sir, your wonderful son arrived to his lesson with both you and your lovely wife in tow. And it was quite clear that he was quite dysregulated as soon as he arrived. Tricky day at school, just wasn't himself. Medication still wasn't quite right.
No.
So you said, I know. I remember this. Clear as day, unsurprisingly. Probably a trauma response. You said to me, I'm going to go and sit in a car with him. Let him choose a song, let him regulate. Okay, that's fine. So your lovely wife and I stayed in the teaching room. So just for context, the door to our teaching room is all glass. So it's a disability access door. So it is floor to ceiling glass. So we see everything through it. But not quick enough, apparently. So we saw said young person attempt to get in the car and then bolt across the drive over a metal fence and very quickly, much like Spider-Man, end up 11 foot up a tree. It was impressive. I didn't know whether to be impressed or devastated all at the same time. So there was about 10 minutes of negotiating with him to try and get him down, but he was already in fight or flight at this point.
Yeah.
And he was panicking, and then there was lots of colourful language from the top of this tree. So I decided to call the fire service. And we did. And to be fair, they were brilliant. So they arrived very quickly.
Yeah.
I explained on the phone about your son's presentation and the most relevant of his diagnosis at that moment, which was autism and element of surprise. So they arrived very quickly. They parked around the corner, turned the sirens off, so there was no panic, and got him down. It was in about 20 minutes, wasn't it? They got him down.
Yeah.
Well, it took 3 of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I get down first because I was 6 foot up.
Yeah. So after putting my heart back where it belonged, I then thought, right, I'm going to go and wait around the other side of the fence now. So there's a public footpath at the side of our house. It's all fenced. So I thought, I'll wait there. and I'll get him in through the side gate and bring him in through the house to try and avoid being in the same situation immediately again. So we did, after all that trauma and all that upset and the nosy neighbours being outside. And is there anything we can do to help? Does it look like there's anything you can do to help? No. So your young person got down over the fence and came skipping along the path. Can we give him a lesson now? Like nothing had happened.
Carl,
Yeah.
tell us about your trip up the tree and how you got down.
Oh, God. It started raining, which didn't help because my son doesn't like the rain. But the thing what he said to you when we eventually got down, so these 3 firemen are trying to position their ladder through a labyrinth of branches. They were amazing. They got him down, had a chat, and then
They're so calm and collected, really.
Yeah. And he then skipped off, like Heather said, and went for his lesson. But on his way, he said to me, I could have got down, Dad.
Yeah.
Well, I obviously then went and had a bit of a chat with the firemen and walked back into this music studio to hear my son belting out another song.
So I have it.
It turned out after that event, that was one of the best lessons we'd had with him.
What I'm interested in is, so that obviously is a rarity, what happened there.
Oh, it's never happened since because I locked the door now.
So give us an idea of then what you do, because obviously I'm aware of his performing abilities, shall I say, and so talk about that. What you do with him, and do you do the same with others? What sort of things do you do with others as well? So just give us an idea of the people that you work with, and beginning with Carl's son.
So we've been running for about 3 years and we let it grow organically. We didn't want to force it. We wanted to make sure we were doing it right. Wanted to make sure that we were also taking our own capacity into account because we are a SEND family. I now have 38 students per week and 35 of those are SEND. We do all sorts of things. So Coping Together is set up by myself and my husband. We are Mr. and Mrs. Cope, hence Coping Together. That's where it came from. We both play multiple instruments. So between us, I think we play 8 instruments. So I primarily teach vocals, piano, little bits of ukulele, tuned percussion, and all the weird and wonderful ones that lots of people haven't heard of. I really want some bagpipes, but you keep saying no to that. And then my husband teaches guitar, bass guitar, drums, again, ukulele. He plays a little bit of piano as well. So between us, we've got quite a plethora of instruments that we teach.
I think the thing is, with my son, like Heather says, when he comes in, she knows what kind of lesson we're going to have.
Yeah, within 5 seconds.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's like, we were progressing really well. And then the wheels came off a little bit. So we had to start again.
Just reassess.
Yeah. And so he does a vocal warm-up. He's happy with doing that. We've now got a couple of karaoke. Say you put the karaoke on, the backing track comes in, but there's no singing. He'll do a couple of them. And then he'll do his performances, his live YouTube videos.
Yeah.
But Heather it's like, I want you to do these bits, but then the rest of it, it's up to you. You're in control.
Yeah, and that's what you do best. Everything we do is child-led. Because when we've got children with multiple sets of needs, particularly children with quite strong PDA profiles, there is that need for control. And we recognise that. And we also recognise it's not a behaviour, it's not being difficult, it's a nervous system response. And we know that and we understand that. But it's actually your son that taught me that and then has made me go and find out a bit more about it myself. So I've also done some quite extensive research into pace now too. Because that's not something that I've ever used as a parent because I haven't needed to.
And Martin and myself struggle with using that as well.
Because it's difficult. And, pace relies on you being not human.
Yeah, exactly. It's not how we are taught or people are taught to deal with
disruption, is it? You know, you're told, no, I mean, we're taught, when I say we're not taught to, it's just how it's not done, you know. So any experience anybody's ever had is to say, no, stop, don't do that, yell, and that just doesn't do anything, does it?
No, if you do it again, this is going to be your consequence. But in those moments, they don't care about the consequences. They're not relevant. So, and it is about, and keeping calm is so difficult. When your child is completely activated and they're hitting you and swearing at you and shouting at you and biting you. I mean, you know, I have that sometimes too with my daughter who does have her severe learning disability. It's not her autism that's displaying when she does that. It is her learning disability and her difficulty with communication. That's what it is with her. But it is difficult to stay calm in those moments. Have there been moments when I've lost it? Yeah, of course.
See, we're only human.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's easy for me to separate, although I have got a very, very strong emotional connection to most of our students now. I mean, you know, most of our students have been with us for at least 6 months, but then we've got students like your son who's been with us for almost 3 years. Because that's what happens. Children come and they tend to stay, which tells me that what we're doing, we must be doing it right, which is good news for us.
You definitely are.
Yeah. But it's for me to separate, for me to, okay, this isn't my child. And the reason it's easy for me to separate is because I've got to think, I haven't got to deal with the aftermath of this. I just have to deal with this in the moment. But I need to make sure that how I deal with it reduces the aftermath. Because I'm acutely aware of how behaviours might present afterwards. And I don't want to be a contributing factor for that, because as a parent, I know how that feels the other way around. When she's been somewhere, she's not managed it, and then, or has managed and then come home and actually hasn't managed it very well at all. And we've got the nervous system activation as a result of that at home. And it's hell on earth, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. In varying degrees, but it's still hell.
Can you tell if any of the kids that you have come to you are masking when they're there, or do you feel like they're letting themselves be themselves? Because again, this is one of those things that we have, you know, it's the same when I pick my youngest up from school. He's either fine and has had a nice time, or he'll just like, let it all out. And I just wonder if it seems to me like you're creating a safe space that they don't have to mask. They can be themselves in some ways.
Yeah, and that's the aim of the game for us, really, is when children first come to us, the first lesson is always very different to the ones that follow. So the first lesson is always incredibly low impact, and that's because I want to sit and watch. I want to learn about you as a person. I want to know what you gravitate towards naturally. I want, talk to me about what you like, what you don't like. But sometimes that can take 3 or 4 sessions. It depends on how long it takes the young person to feel comfortable enough to do that. But I'm a firm believer in low demand, child-led. And actually, don't try and instruct, just watch. And they will create a space for you to then teach and for them to learn. Because, children, until children are thriving, they can't achieve. So it's about creating a space where they feel that immediately when they walk into the room. And I think for us, the way we've set it up, because we do teach in our home environment, and I think that's a big, this is what I think. I think that's a big key part of it for us, because my husband will pop in and say, oh, do you want coffee? And your answer to that is yes, a double one, please, every time. Or with permission, the dog might pop in as well. And who's our family dog, who she's huge and she's just like a massive weighted blanket, isn't she?
I think Martin's saying that his dog's sat with us.
Yeah, well, there you go.
She's here and she's staring like this, throw the ball. And she did have a little bark. And if I don't throw the ball again, she'll have a bark. But sorry, carry on.
Well, I mean, my dog I've done an annual review over Teams this morning and the dog was sat across my lap. So, which is ridiculous because she's like a horse, not a dog. But yeah, the dog will pop in, or perhaps my 11-year-old might pop in because she wants something, because she always wants something, because when don't they want something? But what that creates is, oh, okay, this isn't a school. This isn't a clinical environment. This is a home. People live here and they're happy. So I think that's a big part of it for us.
Yeah, it does make it feel a lot more relaxed.
Yeah, and that's the point. That's what we want.
How much are you hoping to be able to develop them to get them to a certain level? Or is it just a case of, okay, let's see where you go. It's a distraction for you. It's letting yourself have this time to do what you want to do rather than like a structured, let's try and get to this level. Because obviously you go to piano and you'll go and do your grades, I imagine. I've never done it because I haven't got a musical bone in my body, but I see that kind of like aspect. And obviously this sounds like you're just allowing them the time and the space to see how they get on.
And that's exactly it. And when I say child-led, so we've got some students that have been with us for a little while now who first just came for enrichment, enjoyment purposes. They want to come and have a go at some different instruments. They don't know what they like or what they don't like yet. But then we've gone with some students, we've gone from that to they are doing grades now. So, you know, I've got 5 students that are doing grades, but not piano grades, they're all vocal grades. But then we've got some children that are learning, just not in a traditional sense, because I teach in multiple different ways. So some children are reading traditional notation. Some children are learning with the names of the notes, so the letters instead. Some children, particularly those with quite strong PDA profiles, well, I don't want to use letters because that's what you're telling me to do. So I want to use shapes. I want to use numbers. I want to use colours. Okay, all is fine and acceptable.
And suddenly you've got a virtuoso on your hands.
Yeah, so we've got one of our students. He's 9 now. He's been coming since he was 6. Yeah, he's 9 now, but he's a Gestalt language processor. So there is speech, but it's non-contextual. It's very echolalic in nature. The first lesson, so his mum said, right, I have this child. He's diagnosed with ASD. He is Gestalt language processing, attends a specialist setting. He is musical. I am not, and I don't know what to do with him. Can you help? Well, that to me was like, ooh, a challenge. Yes, please, bring him along. And he walked in the room and played I'm going to use a musical term because I'm sure there'll be listeners that do know what it means. If you guys don't, then that's fine. But he came in and played a 2-handed C major 7 chord. So he came in and played the piano with 2 hands in one go. And he'd never touched a piano in his life.
Oh my days. Oh, geez. I'm so jealous.
And I was jealous. I had to learn to do that. But he just came in and did it. And now everything's very much on his terms. But now he is starting to read notation. But he plays things by ear. So I play by ear primarily too. So I'll hear a song, work out where the notes are, and then play it. Essentially, that's what playing by ear is. He does that too. But he's also got something called perfect pitch. So perfect pitch is he can hear a note in a song and pick it out on a piano immediately. Without trying to work it out, he just knows which one it is.
Yeah, I'm very jealous like you, Marty.
But your child does that.
Agree.
On his own terms and in his own way, he does that. He knows. And that's how that works for your son and for quite a few other students, actually, is they'll hear a song that they like. And because they've heard a note or a pattern of notes in that song that they recognise, that then leads them on to their next choice. Like, oh, that reminds me of this song. Now I want to sing this. Now I want to play that. Now I want to learn this. And that's what happens. And it's about letting their own brains lead them. So that's what we do. And we just hone the skill that they don't know they've got.
I've got videos on my phone from, I think, probably first or, within the first half a dozen lessons, I've got a video of my son singing. And you listen to him now, and the progress he's made is ridiculous. His control, I wish I had the control in other things.
I mean, I've got limits, unfortunately.
But so there was a Christmas concert last Christmas, Mart, and I rocked up with a slight hangover.
Yes, you did.
First works due for a long, long time, and I was like, oh my God. I had a pint, which helped me out, but it was brilliant. As a parent sat there, I could see that Ben was slightly stressed.
Yes. So Ben is my husband.
Yes.
And other part of coping together.
Could see you were slightly stressed. You were running around like a blue arse fly.
Well, that's nothing new, is it?
No. But it was absolutely brilliant to see our children standing up in front of a room where they knew some people, but they'd never met some others, and they performed unbelievably.
They did.
I mean,
we had 15 SEND students attended and performed that day.
That must have filled you and Ben with so much pride.
Absolutely.
I mean...
But you know what the best thing was about that? Yes, they all got up and they all performed and they all did it beautifully. But I think that the one thing that came through and shone out for me more than anything else was the sense of community amongst us all as a huge musical family, but also amongst the children and how they supported each other. So if one was struggling, we had one of our students struggling and your son came along and stood by the side of her and offered her that support and that just presence. I mean, it surprised me they didn't take the microphone off her and sang it himself, but he didn't. And in that moment, he recognised what his role was, and his role was, I need to support. So the empathy and the kindness that comes through in those moments blows us all away. It really does.
There's a couple of things there that I'm really interested in, but that sense of community is so important. And so you're providing more than just lessons and activities for the children. It's something more, obviously, because you are then creating this community that makes people feel, again, like we all want to feel, we're not alone in this. And that in itself is a big deal.
I think it's that other thing a bit where it's the specialised support network that is specific to SEN and adoption. It's everybody gets it, you know, and one of our children went up to perform. Everybody in that room is thinking, smash, knock it out the park, you know, and it's unbelievable. It's a massive support to us. I mean, again, I don't know where you get the time from.
I don't.
But you know, that in itself is enough. But I'm not putting my feet up. You know, I'm not resting now. Let's move on to something else. You know, do an advocacy service.
Yeah, that's true.
To help parents. I mean, I've said this in the past, Mark. I feel that we are really lucky in Stoke-on-Trent because we've got a few different organisations that help us parents and provide services for our children. But we met a young man that Ben and Heather do EOTAS with.
Yeah, that's right.
And it was lovely meeting him. He's a really, he's really talented as well.
He's a character, isn't he?
Yeah. But you then advocate and help parents, and it's like, how'd you fit it in? You're just cherry.
The honest answer to that, Carl, is I don't know. The thing is, for me, when I started on my own SEN journey with my daughter, it wasn't obvious in the boys, really. And I didn't really know enough about it to recognise it. But as soon as she was born and she turned around 18 months and I figured, okay, something's not quite right here. I went through that on my own, fighting for support on my own, going and getting speech and language services in on my own. I did all of that on my own and it was absolutely soul destroying. And there was no way on God's green earth that if there's something I can do to stop that happening to another parent, then I will. And that's where my drive comes from for me. And it is a trauma response. There's no two ways about that because my life was hell. It really was. It was hell. But now, because I've learned and been through it myself and understand the process, but went that extra mile and thought, I want to know why. I want to know why that's the case. And I want to know what the thresholds are for things. And I want to know how each different local authority what their thresholds are to provide packages of support, and what it might look like for adopted children, what it might look like for children that are under special guardianship, what it might look like for children in the care system. But all of that I wanted to know, which is probably my own neurospicy brain that I think is probably there now. Quite a few of our families that come in, parents will go, oh yeah, my child does that as well. And I'm like, oh, okay, thanks. So, but actually for me, it doesn't hold me back. It drives me forward. And that's the power of it. That's what I want our children to feel. That's what I want them to feel. Actually, this doesn't need to hold you back. It doesn't need to define you. You can use this to drive you forward and take complete advantage of it.
I think that's why we're doing this podcast, isn't it, Mark? Because we were two blokes who were on our own as well. We were coming down this very lonely journey of not having anybody to talk to. And hopefully us doing this is reaching out to that person who does feel that there's no one out there who gets it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't get these apps out quite as regular as we like to because life is so bloody busy. I mean, I just don't understand how you manage to squeeze everything in. I really don't.
I think for me, I am aware that a lot of the time I probably am at capacity. I know that. Do I recognise it in the moment? No, probably not. Do I recognise it when I've probably gone a little bit over my own capacity? Yes. So for me, the way I survive that is creating opportunities where I can just switch off and actually having that key person in my life to say, you're doing a bit too much now, you need to think about it. And that person's my husband.
Yeah. You need self-care.
But absolutely need self-care. But I also recognise my own detriments, which are, I will always say yes. I will never say no. Even at my own detriment, I will always say yes. But I need that person in my life to say, you just need to take your foot off the gas just a little bit. Just hold fire on that. Have a real think about it. And me being me, because I am stubborn, he's probably the only person that I would accept that from. If anybody else tries to tell me, you don't know me, you don't know what I'm capable of, and that's literally what would come out of my mouth. And I know that. I do know that. But do I regret anything that I do? No. Not for a second.
And how do you switch off? Because obviously your life outside of your work is full on as well. So what do you do? Because that's something that we both struggle with, I think.
Yeah, so we're in a very fortunate position, and we do look at ourselves as being in a fortunate position. So about 4 years ago, we found ourselves in crisis with my now 11-year-old. Our little one was born, which inevitably was the trigger, because she was now not the youngest person in the house anymore. We got this tiny baby that needed all of this care and attention. And it was also the summer holidays. So we love those. Those are great. She was okay for about the first week. I mean, on that point, I think it's absolutely criminal that there is no provision for complex children in the summer holidays. I think it's criminal. It really is. Well, we do all these summer clubs. Great. Can my child access them? No. So anyway, that's probably a story for another day. Yeah. So what I do to switch off. So when we found ourselves in crisis, I referred ourselves into disability social care for a child and family assessment and a carer assessment, because we recognised that I can't do this anymore. So we contacted local services, who then assigned us a disability social worker very quickly. And we got granted some respite, which is that was the aim. That's what we needed, some respite. So once a month, my daughter accesses overnight respite for 3 consecutive nights per month at an NHS disability nursing-led unit, which sounds really clinical, but it's really not. Essentially, it's a bungalow that's been separated into 2 different sides. One's low stimulus, one's higher stimulus, depending on the needs of the children accessing it. They can have 6 children overnight in one go in different separate rooms. And it's a waking night service. So that is round the clock. She's been attending there for nearly 3 years now. We were on an 18-month waiting list because, of course, we were. But it was light at the end of the tunnel for us. We also have an absolutely fantastic who has our daughter for 8 hours a week. She's also my best friend. So she's known my daughter for as long as she's been alive. And we are very, very fortunate because there are lots of families that can't find PAs to be able to do the hours that the local authority grant. So in that situation, we are quite fortunate because I can say, can you just have her for a bit, please, on Saturday? Just so I can sit and stare at the wall for an hour on my own.
That is in itself important. Not to do anything sometimes.
Yeah.
I sit in the car sometimes watching when I'm meant to be taking the boys to football and just stare into space. We've not done it for a while, but sometimes you just need to. There's something I've always thought about, and that is the power of singing. Now, for things like dementia, and my mother's got Alzheimer's, and I know that it's meant to be really good for that as well. What do you think it is about singing that gives people that joy and freedom to just express themselves? Because it is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, so for me, my instrument, if you like, my instrument of choice is my voice. That's my primary instrument. That's the instrument I use for my GCSE and my music A level. But for me, singing it's not just about moving your voice up and down. Because that's what it is, essentially, isn't it, singing? It's like talking, but moving your voice up and down. And when you put it like that, people go, oh, yeah, I can do that.
Right, when we do a tour, we need to come up with, you and Ben can do the instruments, and we need to come up with a song and me and Martin can sing it.
Still, I've got some good ideas already. So singing for me, it's about therapy as well, because it's not just something that you hear, it's something that you feel, because your voice comes from deep inside. So it's about feeling that creates as well, and the resonance and how it sounds in your ears and in your head, which is why music is so important for children with sensory needs, for example, because it isn't just a sound, it's a feeling. It's a concept for them that the louder I sing and the louder I make it for everybody else, because let's be honest, that's what it is about a lot of the time. How loud can I be? Yeah. That microphone's not quite loud enough. Can you turn it up, please?
We've heard that a few times.
We have heard that a few times. So it's about expression, not just about how you might be feeling, but how do I put that across to somebody else? How can I communicate to this person that I'm annoyed and I don't know how to say it because I haven't got the words to say it? I know, I'll sing it instead. So it's about communication as well. It's not just about therapy or enjoyment. It is about communication. And you can tell with your son, depending on which songs he chooses, how he's feeling. He doesn't even have to tell me. We know straight away.
Yeah.
And we know from that very first song choice he makes how that lesson's going to go. But he also tells me, okay, this is where he is. He's really heightened at the moment. How can we bring him back down again? How can we level him out again and bring him to singing something that is gentler, is calmer, is a bit quieter? And 9 times out of 10, we get there. We do get there now. Yeah, so music, but singing in particular, it makes my world go round.
And Carl, for you, Carl, what's your son like when he comes back or when he's experienced this with Heather? Because obviously he's getting a lot out of it at the time, but then afterwards, does he struggle with his regulation of his emotions afterwards, or how's his feel?
I don't know if he's told me to F off or not, doesn't it? In the lesson, worse.
Yes, it does depend on how the lesson's gone, but he can be at death's door on Monday morning, and it's like, come on, let's go to school. Oh, I'm not well enough. Well, if you're not well enough, go to school. You're not well enough, go Heathers. And it's like, I'm going Heathers. You know, he absolutely loves it and lives for it. And the majority of the time when he comes out, it can be a pretty chilled night. But then, you know, there is the odd occasion where it hasn't quite gone so well, and I get called every name under the sun.
And me.
And you, yeah, I did. On the journey home. It just depends who turns up.
You're right.
But like I said at the beginning of this 3 years, nearly 3 years, it's an activity, is unbelievable.
And he's become almost part of our family now, hasn't he? Same as you guys. You guys have too. And that's the point. When we welcome a new student to our service, we're welcoming them to our family, because that's the feeling that we want to create, that you do belong here. But not just your child. You all belong here. You can all feel comfortable here.
Yeah.
This is a safe space. So if you've had a really bad day and you want to talk about things in perhaps a way you wouldn't say to a social worker or to a class teacher, and say it. There's zero judgment, zero. And that's so important, isn't it? And that's what's forged friendships,
Yeah, definitely.
hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, go back to the Christmas concert, and he was a big fan of us.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's how he felt.
Yeah.
It really did. I mean, we're going to be putting on a summer show. So in the summer holidays, so you're more than welcome to come along.
It'll be brilliant just to see and hear exactly how it goes. And
I mean, we've got some big ideas for the summer show. We're looking at outdoor spaces and mains-powered bubble machines and all sorts.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's right.
My son's street, that is.
I'm going to ask him.
Oh, brilliant.
If you can't coordinate it, he'll love it.
All I need to say is, Heather, thank you very much for being a guest on our podcast.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
And how can people get in touch if they're interested in what you do, what service you provide, and how they can contact you?
We don't actively advertise purely because we are at capacity most of the time. We do have a growing waiting list. We are in the situation now where we've brought in a trainee tutor to help to expand services. But if you want to find out any more about us, then follow our Facebook page, and it's literally copied together. That's what it is.
Massive thank you to Heather there. And that's all from the show. But I think I'll leave Carl to have the last word here.
Yeah, just getting ready for school. He woke up this morning. He said to us last night that he wasn't feeling very well. So he had some Nurofen. He woke up this morning and says, I'm not very well. And Jeanette said, right, yeah, okay, that's fine. You just, if you're not well, then you won't be well enough to go to Heather's tonight. And he's gone, oh, all right then, I'm fine.
We'll be back soon with more of the same. So please follow and subscribe and get in touch with us at adopters.anonymous. Thanks for listening.